Vintage 19. Alice, excuse me. We're in the middle of something here, bud. Hello, welcome to the Vintage Girl Next Door. My name is Lacey, and today I wanted to do a quick little welcome video because we have so many new faces here and it's blowing my mind a little bit. There's been like over 10,000 of you that have found my channel, and hi. It's so crazy. So yeah, a lot of you came from the In the Know video, which I actually did that like 8 months ago. So I don't know why it's all of a sudden being suggested to all of you, but I'm not going to complain about it. That's great. Thank you so much for being here and for watching and for commenting. You guys are awesome, and I'm so glad that you found me, and I'm so glad that you're here in our little vintage corner of the internet. So yeah, welcome and hello. I wanted to I know that other video I do a little introduction, but here's the thing. That video was so edited down. Like, we filmed all day pretty much, and it turned into a 3-minute video. So obviously it does not tell the whole story. And so I just wanted to just give a brief overview for all of you new faces on kind of who I am, about me a little bit. And yeah, so that's what we're gonna do today. You have a gigantic cup of tea, so that's good. I think I'm ready to jump right in. Okay, so as you know, my name is Lacey. I have been dressing in the vintage style for about the last 8 years, and it was a transformation. It wasn't just like an overnight, all of a sudden I'm all vintage all the way. It takes time. So why did I even do it in the first place? Let me tell you. So I've always loved history. I love antiques. I love old houses. I love old things in general, things with a story and things with character and with a history to them. I've always gravitated towards those things. Even when I was little, I would go antiquing with my mom and my aunt and my grandma, and yeah, I just love it. It's fascinating to me. And so that's I already had kind of a love for those types of things. And then what really got me focused in on the 1950s was my grandparents. They got married in 1955, and I love looking at their photos. Unfortunately, I don't have a ton of pictures of them back in the day, but I do have some, and I love to look at those and listen to their stories about the 1950s and what a wonderful time it was. And they would go dancing, and they would go cruising, and they would race my grandpa's Corvette up and down the street, and so stuff like that. And then I got more into the old Hollywood and film and old movies and things like that. And so and the old photos of the starlets of the day, I feel like that they just could not look more beautiful and glamorous. And so that really drew me to the style itself. Pinup started rising, I guess, in popularity. There was the Betty Page clothing store that had all of the vintage dresses, like vintage reproduction dresses and things like that. And so that's where I got started into the clothing. It was through vintage reproduction. And so started that, and more on the pinup side of things, because I really am inspired by pinup art and I love it. It's awesome. And so I started that way, and then my style has evolved, as anyone does, as they grow and live their life. Things evolve and change, and your tastes change. And so that's when I gravitated more towards the side of true vintage, more, I don't know, I want to say authentic vintage, but the thing is I don't always do 100% historically accurate 1950s look. Like, I do what I like and I'm inspired by those looks, and so I kind of do my version of the 1950s, if that makes sense. I don't know. Hopefully it does. But anyway, yeah, so like I'm not a historian. I don't always know, like I'm not always 100% makeup, hair, everything historically accurate 1950s, but it's all vintage inspired, and I do this every day. I don't really own any modern clothes. I have, I think, a few pair of jeans, and then I also have some loungewear, like some sweats and, you know, stuff like that. But I also have vintage loungewear, which I much prefer. But like sometimes when it's winter especially, you just need to feel cozy, and so then, you know, that's when the like stretch pants and stuff come out. But yeah, so like for the most part, I do always dress vintage, whether I am at work or at home or lounging around. So yeah, that's how I feel. I feel like that's me. It's odd because I know like sometimes people ask if I'm in a costume or if I'm like in a play or something like that, and to me, whenever I put on modern clothes, that feels like a costume. Like it feels not authentic to myself, if that makes sense. So like, I don't know, I don't feel like I would even know what to do with my hair if I tried to do it in a modern style. So I think someone suggested that as a video, like doing a modern makeover. So if that's something you would like to see, go ahead and let me know. But yeah, that could be fun. So yeah, like I mentioned, I really love the 1950s as a whole, like all of it, and then into the early 60s. I also have recently gotten a huge appreciation for the 1940s style as well. So sometimes I do 1940s style hair, and I have some amazing 1940s suits that I have either thrifted or purchased. And so sometimes I go for the 40s. But as far as my home decor goes, it's really kind of focused on that mid-century vibe. I love mid-century atomic. I love the bright colors. I love this like kind of spacey age atomic stuff so much. And so that's kind of how my home is themed, is more atomic mid-century 1950s style. But like I said, some of my things are from the 60s, and that's okay because I like them. And that's the point, is that I am living and doing what I like and surrounding myself with the things that I love. So yeah. So a little bit more about me. I am married and I have one son, and my son, if you saw him in the videos, he does not dress vintage 1950s. He did for a while there, and it was really fun. Like in elementary school, he liked it. But now that he's in high school, he does his own thing, and that's totally fine, and I support that 100%, because that's the whole point, is doing what you love and being yourself. So my husband does love vintage fashion, and he dresses vintage as much as he possibly can. For his job, he can't really, because he gets dirty. Like, he is a small engine mechanic, and so I mean, you know, he works in a machine shop, so he gets really dirty. So he doesn't wear vintage to work as much, but whenever we go out, whenever we do things together, then he does. And especially when he dresses up, he has a boatload of vintage ties, and he has some nice hats. And so, yeah, he quite enjoys it as well. But like I said, just as a style, not as a hard and fast rule. Like, my husband, if you saw him in the video, he has a big beard. We like the beard. I know that it's not 100% historically 1950s, but we're doing what we like, okay? So yeah, that's kind of a little bit about my home and family life. I also work full-time. I am not a homemaker. I'm not a stay-at-home mom. I actually have a full-time career, and I am a general manager for a movie theater. And I love it. It is the most fun job ever. I love talking to people. I love working with people. So, yeah, that's what I do every day, most of the day, is manage a movie theater. Things are super weird right now in the world, you know, with this virus that's happening, and it's super scary, and just everything is all out of whack. So my theater is actually closed right now. But thankfully I'm still able to go and work and do more of like a Monday through Friday thing right now, which is also weird to be off on the weekends when you always work the weekends. But it'll be nice, and we're able to do some things and get some things nice and clean while we are shut down. It's things that we don't normally get to do. So it's kind of how it's happening right now, but I know we'll be back and it'll be fine. And yeah, we'll get to enjoy the movies again soon, I hope. I do have a bachelor's degree. I went to Southern Utah University and I earned my bachelor's degree in business management. So yeah, I don't know. Just a little bit more about me, what I've done in my life. I also love kitties. I have 4 cats, and I would not be mad about maybe one more cat, but unfortunately my husband does not agree. So we've got the 4 right now. And I'm sure you'll see them pop in and out of videos here and there. They usually tend to congregate around me when I am filming for some reason. They feel like it's time to come over and hang out. So I'm sure you'll see them here and there. I have gotten a few odd comments here and there about like racism and things like that. Here's the thing. I love the 1950s for the bright spots of the 1950s. I'm not a racist. I love all types of people. I am all about women's rights. I'm all about civil rights. I am all about LGBTQ rights. All of those things are important to me. Just because I love 50s fashion and kind of like the bright spots, the highlights, if you will, of the era does not mean that I am a racist or that I don't believe that women should work or anything like that. Like, vintage aesthetic, vintage style, not those vintage values and antiquated kind of thinking patterns. That's not who I am. That's not what I believe in. So let's keep it light, people. Don't assume, like, no, I'm not about that life, okay? Like, I couldn't do the job that I love if I was living in the 50s. Like, I would not want to time travel back and live in there. I love to live the 1950s in the modern time now. With technology, I love technology. I would not have connected with all of these wonderful people without it. I love using technology to connect with other people. I love having a phone, a cell phone. So yeah, like I'm very much a modern woman in vintage style, if that makes sense. So another thing that I love that you may have guessed from some of my videos is I love to thrift. I love bargain shopping. I love thrift store shopping. I love finding treasures like out in the wild. And yeah, that's how I have gotten for the most part, my home decor is probably like 90% thrifted, either thrifted or gifts from family and friends. That's probably like a good 90% of everything that's in our home. Some things we have bought at vintage shops for retail prices, but very few things, to be honest. Like, this is probably the thriftiest person that you will meet. Sometimes my husband says I'm cheap. It's fine. I just like a good bargain, okay? So yeah, and the same with my clothing. I would say a good like 90%, 80 to 90% of my true vintage wardrobe has all been found thrifting, and that does not happen overnight. That's the thing with thrift store shopping. It takes time, and it's taken me all these years to build up the collection that I have. So it's definitely not going to happen overnight, but amazing things are out there at the thrift store. So yeah, case in point, I find almost everything that way. So yeah, and then my vintage reproduction wardrobe, some of that has been purchased retail. Some things have been collaborations with different brands and things like that. So yeah, you don't have to spend a lot of money. You just need some time, and you need to put in the work and go thrifting. So another thing I wanted to mention is that I'm not a professional YouTuber. Like, I just use like what I have. I film on my phone, I edit on my phone. Like, I have a very basic setup, and I would love to improve that over time, but that also takes money. And so yeah, just bear with me. Like, I'm not a pro. I'm definitely not a pro at editing. I do my best, and I will continue to do my best for you. So I hope you'll bear with me on those things, and just understand that, like, I'm just kind of an average Joe trying to do this stuff. So, I mean, I guess that's kind of a nutshell version of kind of who I am and what I'm about. I hope that helps some of you kind of get to know me a little bit better, and I would love to do an updated Q&A video. A lot of the videos that you guys are kind of, I think that YouTube is suggesting to you guys, are quite old. So like, I've been doing YouTube for about 2 years, and so a lot of the ones suggested are from like a year and a half ago or something like that. So I wouldn't mind doing an updated Q&A video. If you would like that, feel free to leave your questions below, and I would be happy to answer them in an updated video. So that'll be fun. So I guess in closing, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being here. You guys are the best. I look forward to getting to know you better through your comments and your interactions here on YouTube, and I will do my very best to respond to all of the comments. I've been trying to be caught up on them every day, and I will continue to do that and try my best. It's been a little bit overwhelming, to be honest, but in the best way. With so many new faces and new folks popping up in comments and things like that, it's been overwhelming, but in a good way. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. I would sure appreciate that, and I would love to have you around for more of our vintage fun. And I will see you soon in my next video. Bye.